Have you ever been called an attention seeker?
Oh yeah, 100%. But I completely agree with it. I am an attention seeker.
Do you think that all people with ADHD are attention seekers?
uh,
And do you think that's a fair term?
I think, you know what, I think, to be fair, majority of ADHD people that I have met are quite similar in the term, like, we're all attention seekers.
Yeah.
But I think I think it is, you can't say you're a attention seeker because
Yeah.
I think that word is not a very nice word
Yeah.
to use. I think there's meaning why we're attention seekers. I think it's more of like, are we attention seeking or are we trying to seek validation and connection?
Yeah, exactly. And as people with ADHD naturally have lower dopamine, we're seeking that dopamine and validation by attention seeking.
Do you think you're an attention seeker?
Yeah, probably. I feel like looking back at my childhood, and we spoke about this, that I've never linked to attention seeking and ADHD is lying. Like, I don't know if we spoke about it in the podcast,
We did,
but
yeah.
like, I literally pretended I went on Britain's Got Talent.
You said
What?
To Simon
Why
Cowell.
would you made the whole thing up?
What? Wait, what was your talent for going?
Singing. I can't even fucking sing. Like, what? And surely all of my friends at school knew this, but I literally made up that I got to like the third stage of Britain's Got Talent. What's the weirdest? That's not even the weirdest lie I've ever made either.
What is the weirdest lie?
Do you know what? It's actually really bad, and I don't think I want to say it on the podcast.
Okay.
But it was, and I can't laugh saying it because that makes it sound. But it's looking back, I'm like, that was so fucked up. But I like made up something really bad about my parent, like that happened to my parents, to my friends at school.
I remember you telling me about it.
And I was so embarrassed looking back. And I remember bringing it up in therapy years later and being like, I feel so much guilt for this thing that I did when I was younger. And I don't know why I did it. And then so many people got involved. Like my friends' mums got involved and it all became this big thing. And I'd made up this lie. And I remember just thinking, being up in my room and just thinking, oh shit. Like this has got way out of hand. But at the time, I remember doing it. And I remember being in the toilets at school. And almost feeling like, everyone's now giving me attention and feeling really sorry for me.
Yeah. Did you know what the most embarrassing thing as well is, like, when you get caught out in a lie? You know,
That's
like,
what I mean.
it is the worst thing
You're
ever.
just there like, oh my God.
I remember it so clearly as a kid. I remember being on holiday and there was, like, you know, when you go to, like, these, like, all-inclusive resorts and, like, you just make friends with, like, random kids.
Yeah.
I remember, like, telling this random kid that I'd met on holiday that I could speak Greek. I don't know why. And I remember, like, to be fair, I was like 6 or 7. And then I remember just being like, just,
no, I
like,
actually
just
need
working,
to try and speak.
just working and saying gibberish, just being like, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe you speak Greek. And she like went running over to my mum and she was like, Megan can speak Greek. And my mum was like, Megan can't speak Greek, she's lying. And I was stood there like, this is
just jump into the pool
Yeah.
and just like swim away.
I'll see you later.
Avoid them for the rest of the holiday, like at the that club that they do, like what are those?
like the
clubs?
kids'
It's the
club.
kids club, and they're there, and you're like, I don't even know who
It's
you are.
basically an excuse for mum to go off and just like have a good holiday, and I'm sat there in kids club doing like water aerobics or something.
It's anything that you agree, doing anything to just find some novelty.
Yeah. Just this girl doesn't know me. I can just make up a completely different story
It's
about
strange,
my life,
isn't it? But I do definitely think that as I've got older, it's more. It's changed. We've spoke about this before, but making yourself like things for certain people, I think that's an attention-seeking trait, isn't it?
It's like, for me, I think it always links back to RSD because it's like I am attention seeking because for me that's a way of being liked, and the thought of not being liked and being rejected is like the worst thing in the world. But it's weird because like it is such a double-edged sword, I think, because like a lot of the time I genuinely believe that I need to perform to be loved and to be liked, and so I'll be like this overinflated version of myself and say like really impulsive things and jokes and like be really extroverted and things like that because I want people to like me. Yeah. But the double-edged part of it is that by me doing that actually has put me in a lot of situation where I've lost a lot of friends because I've said things impulsively or said jokes and people think I'm like too much and like too loud and in their face. And so it's kind of like you can't really win on either side. And it's really hard because I don't know how to control it. There's been times where I've like gone out and like overperformed and pretended to be like this very extroverted person. And then like I'll just go home and I'm like, why the fuck did I do that? And then I'm like, next time I go out, I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to be really quiet. And then I fucking go out and I just do it all over again. I'm like, oh God, like why can't I just
shut up?
Shut up, yeah.
And I've done it before, and I think when you bring it back to the RSD as well, when you do that on a night out, especially work, I feel like it's one of those places where you end up saying things or doing something and performing, and then you have to go into work on a Monday.
Oh, it's the worst thing
and so
ever.
You do it for attention, but then just because you're scared of people not liking you, and then actually what happens is then you end up with even 10 times worse RSD because then you go in the office and you're like, oh my God, everyone hates me. Everyone thinks I'm too much. Why did I do that? And then, it's just like this vicious cycle.
I literally have sat up in bed till like 3-4 o'clock in the morning thinking about things that I said 8 years ago.
Same.
8 years ago. And I'm like, that person does not even remember that I've said that. But
no, but I'm so concerned that I did it.
I'm like, why did I say that? And it's like, you know, when the words come out of your mouth before you even have time to realise they're even coming out of your mouth, and then you say it, and then like someone gives you a look, and you're like, why the fuck did I do that? And you're like, you just want the ground to swallow you up whole.
I think a really classic example of, I don't know if you've heard of this, the class clown.
Yes.
And I remember everyone used to say, call my brother the class clown. And I think guys get it more than girls. And we've spoken about how women mask more. So where women probably wouldn't be the person at school or in the office that's really hyperactive and making a show of themselves, I think guys typically do that. And you kind of always see that guy who's just acting up or doing something stupid for attention. There's always that one guy out of the class or the guy group who was always just trying to take it one step further.
Yeah. It's weird though, because I feel like that was me at school. Like I was more trying to be like the class clown, but I think when I was in school, like a lot of my friends, they got a lot of attention because they were really pretty and things like that, and I felt like I didn't get that much attention for being pretty, and so I was like, okay, well, if I can't be pretty, then I'll be funny, and that's how I got attention, was being funny. And so I do like the most outrageous things and just be like in the middle of class and be like, oh look, I've glued my hand to the table, and then like everyone's laughing at it, and I'm like, I just am making an idiot out of myself for no reason. Like, but then like no one would take me seriously because it's just like, oh, it's just Megan like just doing something stupid again.
She is.
Like, there she is. Oh, why have you done that for?
But I think it's because for so long we've been told that we're different and we're too much, and we've had all of these negative words said to us throughout our life that we almost feel like we have to perform.
Yeah. I've got written down here, there's a really good stat. It's by the time a child with ADHD turns 10, they've received 20,000 more negative messages than their peers. And then, you know, we wonder our whole adult lives why we're so desperate to be liked, because we've received so many of these negative comments as a child that we're constantly trying to like prove it wrong almost, because we're so used to that rejection and feeling like that we're not enough. So we're just acting out more, trying to get that attention, desperate to be liked, to overcome those negative comments that we received as a kid.
I think the problem is with that as well is that then you kind of have this identity crisis as you get older, because you don't really know who you are when you are performing. And a really good example of this is when I was at school, I had a girl group, which I think I've spoken about previously. I don't really have any friends from school anymore. And a lot of the friends that I had from school, they were always really sporty and like different things to me. And then I finished school and I always wondered why people, you know, didn't like me, but I was always trying to like keep up appearances with them people. And then I moved to university and I finally met people that I liked and got on with, but still felt like I was trying to be someone that I wasn't still even at university. And then I'd date guys and then I'd try and like instantly try and merge myself into them, listening to the music they like, trying to be the person that I thought they wanted me to be. That it's only really in the past sort of 4 years that I've started to really know and understand who I am, because I've spent so many years trying to mask and be someone that I thought everyone else wanted me to be for attention and validation.
I feel the same. I feel like I've only really started to figure out my actual identity in the past couple of years, because I think it's, you know, ADHD is, we're almost experts at playing normal. Like, we want to seem like we're normal, so we'll put a mask on just to survive in society. But then all the problems from that is there is such a disassociation between your inner self, like who you really are, and then the person that you are for other people. And then so it's constantly like, you know, when you're going out, if you are your true self, I'll get comments like, oh, are you all right today? Like, you were really quiet and things like that. And then I'm like, okay, well, if I'm my real self, then people say I'm quiet and I'm not enough. And then if I'm trying to be this masked version of myself, then it's like, oh, you're being too much or too loud. And it's like, I can't figure out what end of the spectrum that I need to be on. Like, I'm either too quiet or I'm too much, and I can't figure out that middle ground.
Yeah, and I think that's actually really tiring as well, because you never really know who you should be. And on the days where you are masking, I think that's why, looking back, I've always found social situations more difficult than I thought. And that's why I've spent a lot of time in social situations getting really drunk, because I feel like if I get drunk, then I can kind of forget about how I'm feeling, because actually I feel really anxious in this situation. But my anxiety then makes me overcompensate by attention seeking, being loud, being too much. And then the drink masks that as well. And then I get home and I'm just absolutely exhausted. And work's also a really good example of that. Sometimes I go in the office and I'm like, oh my God, I really just don't want to socialise today. But I feel like I have to mask and then, you know, overperform, go out for work drinks and maybe be more extroverted than I actually want to be.
I think drinking's actually a really good example, because I think, me personally, I'm probably the most attention-seeking I am after I've had a few drinks. And I think it's almost like you said, of being in that social situation and you have a few drinks because it reduces your anxiety. And almost the mask slips, but then I think the mask slips and my impulsivity comes out more. And so it's like saying just stupid shit, and I've said like the most offensive stuff before that I don't even mean to say to people, but it's like it's come out of my mouth like word vomit.
I've been exactly the same,
and I've said it because I've had a few, not that I'm like pissed and drunk, it's just I've had a few drinks that the anxiety is gone, and then I'm impulsive and say things and then offend people and get seen as loud and too much, and it's a really tricky situation to be in.
It absolutely is. And I've been in situations like it before with friends. The specific situations that I remember with boyfriends, and being drunk and then waking up the next day and not actually really remembering, but kind of remembering and trying to piece it together, and then just feeling like absolute dread, because knowing that that's actually not you and you didn't mean to, but like you said, it's impulsive, it's like word vomit, and then you're like, oh my God, shit, like why did I say that, why have I done that? And then it's hard, and then it makes those people around you think that is who you are. And I've definitely, luckily, not lost many friends, but I think that people have seen me differently, for sure.
Definitely. There's a situation that is so clear in my mind of when this has happened, of like me just doing things back to back, and it's made me look bad. And I think actually since that time, the people who I was friends with, I'm just nowhere near as close with them, because I just made a complete fool of myself, because it was just like, you know, multiple things back to back. And I remember I wasn't drunk, I had a couple of drinks, and I remember we were all out and I was with Matt, and I took a photo of Matt wearing like a face mask in the bathtub or something. And I was like, oh, it's such a funny photo, it's such a funny photo, everyone have a look. And Matt's like, do not show that photo. If you show that photo, I'm going to be really pissed off. Of course, I showed the photo to everyone because I was like, haha, it was really funny. He was really pissed off with me, didn't speak to me. And then one of my friends who was there had just broken up with his girlfriend. I made a joke about their breakup. He got off, stormed off and started crying. And then everyone's like, oh, Megan, why have you done that? What the fuck? Matt's storming off. I'm chasing after him trying to get home. I get home and I'm literally like, why have I done this? Like, I've just made I've just made a stupid joke, showed a picture that I probably shouldn't have shown. But in my mind, I was like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. And then it's like a really poorly timed joke just like blows up in your face. And then I'm sat there thinking the whole night, like, why have I done this? You know, like, and I think since then, I wouldn't say my friendships with those people were ruined. I just feel like
it's not the same.
It's never been the same since before then.
And do you know what's really hard in that moment is it takes you back to being a child.
Yes.
And being told, why have you done that? You're too much. And I completely resonate with it because it's not the same, but there's been times where things like this have happened to me. And you get this, your whole body just kind of reverts back to that moment when you're sat on, your parents have told you to go upstairs, or your parents have been shouting at you, or you've been the one at the kids' party that's done something, and all the other kids are running around, and you're the one that's being told off for doing something, and it's such a isolating feeling.
It is. It's like that feeling of sitting in the chair in school, the little plastic chair, and your feet and your head being down like this. Or, like teacher being like, bring your dad in after school, I want to talk to them. You're like, I don't want to.
It's like being a naughty schoolgirl. Like, literally, that's how it feels when you get told off. But you almost are a child in that moment.
It's that sickness
it's
feeling.
Horrible.
Your stomach dropping and being like, I'm in trouble, I've done something wrong here.
Yeah.
And feeling that guilt.
Yeah.
And you're like, it would have been so easy for me to just not have done that. So why did I do it?
But it is often fueled by alcohol. Yeah. When I have done anything like that, and that is because your inhibitions are lowered, so you're more likely to be impulsive and do things. And if you have ADHD, obviously
that's just going to be
just going to make it even
I mean,
more.
how many neurotypical people go out and get drunk and make mistakes, like fucking all the time?
Yeah, exactly. I just think that we're more likely to be loud, impulsive, and probably say things we don't mean.
I think it's approval though, really. Like, I've got written down here that ADHD are approval addicts. Yeah. And it's not about our ego, but it's about regulation. It's about, we need that approval to regulate ourselves emotionally. So we're constantly chasing approval. And so that's why we might be attention seekers. We're doing these outrageous things because we want people to approve of us, of being like, oh, you're really funny. Like, oh, that's so spontaneous and things like that. I would never be able to do that. And so when you get that approval from doing something, it just fuels me to do it even more. I'm like, oh, they thought that was funny, I'm going to double down and be 20 times more that. Then it's just,
and then but then the thing is, then you get that approval, and then the dopamine increases, you get that little spike of it, and then dopamine drops, and you're like, right, I need to do something else. I need to make people approve of me even more. I need to validate myself even more. And it's just this vicious cycle, isn't it? Of getting the dopamine, feeling good for a short period of time, getting everyone laughing at you, and then back to baseline. I'm gonna do it again. There's been so many times, right? You'll probably know whether it's been you that's done this or whether it's been someone else, and you're out for drinks, and there's always someone, and it's usually a guy, but it can be a female, and someone that's just constantly making jokes. It's like, right, the first time that was funny. Yeah. You do it the first time, everyone laughs. Do you know? Then they might do it again, and then everyone laughs, and then it's like, right, this isn't funny anymore. But they keep going and going and going, and that's a really good example, isn't it?
Do you know what? Like, it makes me think of it. It's always the funniest thing when it happens, and it's so soul crushing. Is when you tell a joke the first time and no one hears it, but one person's heard it, and so you say it a second time so everyone at the table hears it. And you look at that person who heard it the first time and they were like, well, you had to say that twice, and you're like, oh god, like just...
And then didn't hear it the first time. He was there like, ha ha ha, and nobody laughs as well, and it's like, I should have been there.
Yeah, I should have just stopped it the first time. Why did I have to say it a second time? But I think as well, like the problem with it is that when everything needs to land so perfectly, we overanalyze every single situation. Like, we're so hypersensitive to people's body language, to the way they text, to the way they say things. And so I'm constantly analysing if, like, I've just said something and I'm looking at their face and seeing how they've taken it and things like that. And so that is exhausting, is every social interaction is just like constantly looking at every single micro body movement and things like that to see, oh, did they like that? Was that good? You know?
Yeah.
It's like that approval of, like, when you're younger and being told, oh, you're good, and you're like, okay, yeah, this is really good. Like, you just want to keep chasing that of, like, being told that you've done well, you know, and getting laughs and doing stupid things is that feeling of feeling like you're wanted and you've done something well.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, it's actually soul destroying when you don't get that approval, and then RSD kicks in. You know, you're looking at someone, whether it's someone that you're trying to make laugh or someone that you're dating, and maybe they don't feel the same, and you can tell whatever it might be, and then you don't get that response, and then that's like, oh, this is literally soul destroying.
It is the worst feeling ever. It's so weird though. It's like, why do I? It's like so much of the things I say, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I shouldn't care about what other people say. Like, I'm just going to be me. I'm going to do what I want. But in reality, I'm like not like that. I'm like, oh God, why doesn't anyone like me?
Literally, and I think that's why it's so much easier when you've had a drink to be like that and not really think about it. Whereas in everyday life, I think you kind of question the consequences a little bit more.
I think it does come back to impulsivity as well. And I think people with ADHD are naturally more impulsive communicators. Like, we have very different communication styles, which is great because, you know, we're very personal, we're very emotional. Like, I hate small talk. I hate the whole, like, how's your week? Oh, weather, blah, 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 all of this.
Awful.
Like, I want to get into the nitty gritty. Tell me all your childhood trauma immediately.
Which is basically how our friendship started.
But a lot of the time, normal people don't communicate like that. So there have been so many times where maybe I have literally just met them and I have completely trauma dumped on them and told them, like, everything about my childhood and my personality and what's going on with me and this and that. And then they're probably there going, what the fuck is happening? Like, why are you doing this? And then after that, I'll go home and think, why have I just told someone that I don't really know all this personal information about myself? They must think that I'm crazy. And, like, that's a lot of the reason why people think that I'm an attention seeker, because I'll go out and I'll just, like, say the most outrageous things about, like, my trauma and things like that, because for me, that's the type of conversations that I want to have. Like, I don't care that you bought some new shoes from Zara. Like,
yeah, and I'm the same.
Tell me about this awful date you went on last weekend. Tell me about, like, your deepest fears. And like, I don't want to sit there and make small talk.
I'm exactly the same, and I think that's, you know, why I find dating so boring. Obviously, I'm not dating anymore, but that is why I find dating so boring, because it's just a small talk of, like, oh, so where did you go to school? Where do you live? What do you do for work?
How many siblings
like,
you got?
Boring. Like, I want to know about your life. And I think sometimes people can find that quite confronting, and they don't really, why is someone being so vulnerable so early on? But that is just how I connect. Like, I would say we make people feel seen and understood because of that. But then I think what happens is that when we don't get that same energy back, we feel exposed, and that can be really difficult.
Yeah, because you're putting yourself out there and making yourself vulnerable.
But that's definitely not for me an attention seeking thing, I don't think. It's just who I am. Like, in that moment when we met and we had the most insane conversation, like, which I will not repeat on the podcast.
Not safe
but
for
work. Let's just say we were in the office and just ended up on the most, like, I don't even know how we ended up there, and it was the first time we ever met. But that felt very natural for me, and I was like, I'm going to be really good friends with this girl because this doesn't feel strange. I don't feel too much, and I don't feel like anything that I am saying is wrong. But I could not say that to most other people who didn't have ADHD.
I think for us, that's not an attention-seeking thing. Like, I'm not saying these things to you because I want attention for it. That's just me trying to communicate and connect.
Yeah.
Whereas for someone else who doesn't communicate like that, when you say really vulnerable, deep things or things that you probably shouldn't say to people you don't know, they'll see it as attention-seeking, or like, you're just saying this. And that's what I hate, is because when I have genuinely tried to make an attempt to seek connection with someone by being vulnerable and being emotional, and then for them to receive it and think, you're saying this because you just want attention, it's like, that's not why I'm saying it. I'm not saying these things for that. I'm genuinely seeking connection, and it's just not well received. And that brings it back to the whole being rejected. Like, I've been myself, I'm trying to connect with you, and you've just gone, you're an attention seeker.
I think we find it as a way to like relate to people, don't we? To find that bond. You're not always going to have the same trauma, but trying to find that common ground. That's what I think. Like, when we've spoken about our trauma, it's completely different, but it makes you feel like I said, it makes you feel seen and understood. And yeah, it is a shame when that happens. And I've definitely been on dates before where I've had people say to me, "You're a bit much, aren't you? Like." You're asking me some very deep questions early on. But I think also, not to bring star signs into it, but I do think being a Cancer as well probably doesn't help that. So also ADHD, and I think Cancers do, if you do believe in star signs. I don't know, but
take it with a pinch of salt, because we're both Cancers, and I think we're both very actual. We are like quite. I'm not going to say Cancer because that's not the right way of describing it, but we are very, like, I relate to that being that star sign.
Yes, absolutely. Just feeling things very deeply, and I think people with ADHD just naturally feel things very deeply anyway, and that's why.
What a combo, ADHD and a Cancer, fucking hell. It's just like the emotions coming off of us. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've always felt emotions, but I feel like, do you know what I really miss? This was the biggest attention-seeking phase of life, and I think we should bring it back. BBM. I think everyone did it, but BBM, attention-seeking time. If I'm not in a good mood, the profile picture is black, no replies, don't talk to me. Yes. And then everyone messages you going, why, what's wrong? Or
that is an absolute classic. And like, when I look back at my Facebook statuses and I'm actually embarrassed, Twitter as well, and I'd always put like a really sad song, like the lyrics to a really sad song, and then just put like ... and then the little lyrics,
the little symbol,
yeah.
And then like my auntie or something would comment on it like, "You okay, Megs?" And I'm like,
just really like this song.
Really
But actually, you're like crying in your bedroom, like why does no one like
it's
me?
Like
someone message me.
It's like broken up with someone when you're like 13, and I remember writing status like, still have to walk down the corridors and see your face. Sad face. Like, why am I feeling things so deeply? And do you remember like you'd sit there in your room and you'd put on like Lana Del Rey or something, and I'd just be like pouring my eyes out and being like, no one has ever felt this bad before in their life. My life is so bad.
It's terrible, isn't it? Do you know what else that I will admit, which I feel very embarrassed admitting this, but I do actually think there'll be people listening to this who will probably do this, won't admit it. I used to upload pictures to Instagram, and if I didn't get the amount of likes that I wanted, I'd delete it.
Yes.
And that was so, like, I would be like, and it'd be on for like 2 seconds, literally on my main thing, and I'd be like, oh my God, no one's liking it, gotta delete it. And I think Instagram, I mean, I've had a really bad relationship with Instagram, and now I actually do think it is an ADHD thing where anyone who knows me well enough will know that I deactivate it and reactivate it and deactivate it and reactivate it, mainly because I find it really addictive. But looking back, Instagram has been quite an attention-seeking thing.
Well, it is really.
Like posting pictures of myself in like a bikini, and you know how many like followers I'm gonna get. I mean, I'm not as bad now. Some of the posts I used to put on Instagram, questionable. But it is definitely. I think I'd be interested to know if people with ADHD use Instagram differently to the average person.
That would be interesting to know. I definitely resonate with that though, because I feel like I'd post a photo, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, it's got some likes, and then like I'll look at one of my friends who's posted a similar photo and they've got all these likes and all these comments, and I'm like, oh well, no one fucking likes me anyway. Don't like my photo, I must be ugly. Like all of this, be like stupid, delete it.
But then you delete it, and then you feel so stupid for deleting it, and then you're like, are people going to know that I've actually deleted it? But it is a classic example, right, of getting that dopamine spike just for a short amount of time, and then it's not really giving you what you wanted, so then you're back to baseline. That it's like, right, must take another picture. Where can I take another picture? It's terrible.
You remember like when you're younger and you have like photo shoots with your friends, like, oh, should we meet up and just have a photo shoot? Why did we do that? Like,
an outside like Pizza Hut or something. Like, it's just weird.
It's weird, I remember like going on a holiday and like taking photos of myself in a bikini, like on a self timer.
Yeah. But and then uploading it. And we'd spend hours doing it.
Yeah. But it's such a weird concept.
It is
like,
weird.
oh, I'm on holiday with my family and I'm just like by the pool, like self-timer. Oh, don't like that one. And you post it just because you want the attention from it. And then you're like, oh, I actually haven't got
that many likes, so let's delete it.
Yeah, goodbye.
Not going to tell anyone that I've spent literally my entire day getting this
looking at this photo, and then you post it, and then you just spend the whole time like refreshing it. Yeah. How many likes?
It's terrible, and that is a dopamine seeking behaviour, isn't it?
It definitely is. I mean, there's so many things that we do for dopamine. I mean, we could have a whole episode on dopamine seeking behaviours.
Yeah, maybe that can be our next one.
I think it's difficult though, because I think attention seeking is a negative way of saying it. It comes with so many different feelings and emotions, because if someone calls me an attention seeker, like that hurts. But I think it's trying to reframe it, like, yes, we are attention seekers, but we are doing it because we're seeking connection, not seeking attention, if that makes sense. So being able to reframe the word and look at it very differently and know that there's reasons behind it, and you're not just doing things because you want attention, you're trying to regulate yourself, you're almost trying to self-medicate yourself with approval.
And I think actually accepting that as well, and knowing that your brain works differently for a start, and you naturally have less dopamine than a neurotypical person, so you are just seeking dopamine. And not to feel guilty for that, because I think you can feel a lot of shame, like we said, the 3 a.m. sat there like, oh my god, why did I say that at the work party? Why did I do that? Or, and then thinking about things that you said when you were younger, and I think actually being able to have a little bit more acceptance has been really helpful for me, because like until we had this podcast conversation in another episode and you mentioned about the lying, I was like, wait, that's an ADHD thing. And like so many times I've thought about this thing that I did when I was younger and never really understood it. And now it makes so much sense. And now I can accept that part of me and know that actually it was my ADHD, and it is because my brain works differently.
Yeah, and you can move on from it. And I think as well, like, having a think about things, like how many times have I sat there and thought about something that someone else has said? I've never like left a night out and gone home and thought, oh, someone else said something really weird, and then thought about it loads.
No.
So realistically, I know we sit there and beat ourselves up, and it's quite natural because we do have the overthinking and we go into the thought spiral at 3 a.m. But try and just think, okay, well, I've never actually thought about anything else someone else has said. Like, the most likely is that that person has not even paid attention to what you've said, and they've completely forgotten about it anyway.
Yeah, and like how many times have you done things then it's felt like the biggest thing ever, and you've created this huge scenario up in your head. I just always come back to like work-related situations, and then you go into the office on a Monday and everything is normal, and you've spent the entire weekend thinking about the one thing you did on a Friday at work drinks, and you go in the office and you've been like, oh my god, everyone at work's going to hate me, everyone's going to be laughing at me when I go in the office, and then you go in the office and it's like, oh wait, everything's fine, and everyone's moved on, and everyone else was probably drunk and doesn't remember what you did as well.
Exactly, and it's absolutely fine, and it didn't matter, and you're like, I've spent so much time worrying about
We're not saying go out and be really abusive, by the way, and do really awful things.
I mean, don't go out and murder someone and think, oh yeah, no one's actually paid attention to that.
Remember that's fine. Obviously within reason, but just give yourself a bit of grace.
Give yourself grace.
Give yourself grace. You're human, and you also have ADHD, and your brain works a little bit differently, and that means that you may do things that are a little bit attention seeking sometimes, but that's okay.
That is okay. We are a little bit attention seeking, so It's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave it there. But thank you everyone for listening. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week.